New York City Comic-Con is a disaster. Deaths, fights, robberies, unsafe conditions. That's it feels like that's something that happens when society, I think, civil war, society collapsing. You don't really usually hear that when they're talking about like a comic book convention.
Yeah.
No.
Has it ever been unsafe at one you've been to?
No, well,
have you been to like every single one for a while?
So, the first one I went to was 2013, and then the last one I went to was 2019. Because after that there was the pandemic, so they didn't do it 2020. Then 2021 they had mask and vax mandates, and I think they did for this one too.
No, they didn't actually. Well, they had a mask mandate, but not a vax mandate for it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised either way.
But the mask mandate wasn't enforced, and that was another thing they mentioned in the story.
That's the crazy thing about it, right? Is like we have let's get into the first things first, which is that somebody, a cosplayer, passed away at this. He had a heart attack and a stroke, right?
It was a seizure
okay.
and a heart attack at the top of an escalator on site the convention.
His name's Mitch Drucker, who's apparently a very well-known name in cosplay. Goes there.
He was in cosplay, but I don't know if we know like what he was in cosplay as. No. At the time,
and so they're talking about how like they were handing out masks to people, and then there'd be people behind them like handing out swag bags that weren't wearing masks, just
like at a booth. All of the people at the booths, and then it pictures from the event. Literally, almost no one is wearing masks.
Yeah,
which is actually surprising because like
you
York. Never know with like the clientele of like comic book fans in New York City who you're gonna get.
Yeah,
like people wearing N95s or people who don't give a single F at all about those requirements. So
have you been to one since COVID?
No. The atmosphere of to put it politely, sweaty nerds.
Well,
is this the Federal Reserve?
This is the Federal Yes.
Already?
Already? Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
We've secretly moved it here.
Oh, okay.
All my comments about tax heroes and end the Fed, it's actually just a ploy to not let people know.
I'm in charge of the Federal Reserve. Don't tell Ian.
Unlike next time he's going to come on the show, it's like, I heard somewhere that you work for the Federal Reserve. I'm not coming on the show this week.
So you were saying about sweaty nerds.
Oh, yeah, sweaty nerds. Yeah, it's... If you've ever been to like any type of convention, trade show, it's like... A lot of the time, you're packed in like sardines. Like there's like 100,000 people there, no joke. And you know,
do they oversell for the venue?
No,
Wow,
that's
okay.
the Javits Center where they have it. It's just a huge place. It's where
so the max capacity is just really high.
Yeah, I mean it's an unfathomably large building, but like when you're all tightly packed together like that and everyone's breathing on each other, it's gross. Like I don't know, like I guess I could do it when I was younger, but not now.
Yeah.
he's like yeah, I'll pass on that.
Yeah.
And apparently it's teaming with pickpocketers.
What?
I was
robberies.
I was explaining to Mary earlier, like that's like a pickpocket's like golden place to be right now. That many. Well, you're going to be used to getting bumped into. So you're going to be in close proximity to people, so it's not going to be weird when people close the distance between.
Butt?
Yeah,
yeah,
basically that, or like I mean, it's not like that.
It's probably just some sweaty nerd groping my butt.
Touching my butt.
No, that actually happens though. Like they'll have
Gropers?
There's signs up at New York Comic Con that'll say cosplay is not consent.
No.
Wait.
What?
Yeah.
Is that an overblown problem, or do people actually get groped in cosplay?
So I could assume that it's more or less like you're standing in a line that's like 500 people long, and you're all like an inch apart from each other, so you're going to touch someone. There's no way around it.
Yeah.
So it's probably like some girl cosplaying in a latex suit, and she thinks that someone grabbed her ass. But they didn't.
Well,
and then like
that
everyone
probably
overreacted.
they could.
Did she
and
have
then
a
it
wallet
becomes
on
a
her?
hashtag on Twitter, and then it becomes
yeah.
a sign at a convention eventually. Like
yeah,
that's how it goes. That's the ecosystem.
A few people mess it up for the rest of them.
Mm-hmm.
But it says thieves and pickpockets are also said to have stolen numerous phones, camera equipment, backpacks, expensive stickers and pins, swag bags, and more. But I actually want to get back to so when Mitch Drucker, when he passed, people didn't help him. People people took pictures because that is the society we live in now. And when bad things happen, nobody calls for help or tries to help.
Yeah.
Everyone just films it on their phone as if, like, I want to point out that never in your life, like, if you've ever been to a concert and filmed a concert, I'm going to let you in on a secret. I'm going to push you forward to your own future. You're never going to watch that footage that you recorded at that concert ever. Never once. Like, you might post it to
So
your
don't
YouTube.
post it on your story.
And
no one else is interested.
It's like fireworks. It seems like a good idea at the time to take a video of that amazing fireworks display that nobody will ever watch and you will never watch. So that's what they're doing here, and that's honestly fairly disgusting.
Well, thankfully, the pictures or videos are not
Getting
posted online right now, or if they are, they're getting deleted. But it kind of reminds me of the situation at TwitchCon with that adult performer
Yes.
who jumped into a 1 foot deep foam pit and broke her back, literally.
I mean, more importantly, just jumping into a foam pit at all.
And then
is
people
a
were
bad
like
idea.
recording it as she had just like
Yeah.
had a spinal injury, and then they
Right.
moved her out of the foam pit
Let
when
us
you're
pick
not
you up.
supposed to do that
Yeah.
at all when
I didn't
someone
even
has
know.
a spinal injury.
Like, I saw the video. I didn't even know what happened at first because I saw, porn star breaks her back. And that sounds bad.
Exactly.
That sounds bad.
You're like, that's hilarious. Let me click on that video.
Well,
Share.
Hilarious and probably normal.
So I saw
shares
porn
it
star
now?
breaks her back, and then I saw the clip on Twitter, I think. And I'm
Yeah.
watching, I'm like, I don't get it. Where does she break her back? And then, she's like keeled over on top of the foam. Like, she can't move. Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they carried her out of the pit,
Yeah.
which is like lawsuit
Big
Is it-
no-no.
waiting to happen.
You know what? Yeah, because when she was keeled over and she started like moving her head, I have like very limited, like CPR and health related
Yeah.
training, but I was like, that's not good for your spine. I know that.
You have to
Yeah.
secure the neck,
Yeah.
the back, and then a back, basically like a flatboard, right?
Yeah,
Like that's-
you don't
so-
move. That's
But
the
it
point.
was a foot deep with concrete at the bottom, so
Yeah.
it looked like it was a foam pit, but it
Yeah.
was not.
It was a foam carpet, basically. It was not a
Yeah.
foam pit, and
Yeah.
it's like, and then another one had like a 3 foot, and like none of them followed the rules. Like it has to be 6 feet or greater
With a trampoline
yeah.
at the bottom.
It's not
as
like
a
Is that
base.
actually the rule?
Yeah, well, it's not a rule, but like the official guideline of how you should put together a foam pit so people
Yeah.
don't literally die.
And then it says the second death occurred outside of New York Comic Con when somebody slipped and fell. So it's like this. It feels like they're cursed at this point.
Yeah.
And of course, New York is not exactly like the greatest place to be right now, anyways. Given like all the, I'm honestly surprised a lot of this went forward. Given that, I mean, we were in New York like a month ago, and there were
Yeah.
pretty like there was a lot.
But we
of
were in the
businesses.
nice parts. We
Yeah.
didn't really go.
There are nice
to-
parts.
Times Square. is
Yeah, we were
considered,
like around
tourist
Times
central.
Square.
So
in Central Park.
In addition, there was a ton of fights at Comic-Con. So I'm literally like, I'm imagining this is more like a UFC convention.
Civil War
like,
at Comic Con.
Tim would love that. Like,
Yeah.
they could do Civil War at Comic-Con. It says, we're not done there. As apparently an incident happened at the press line involving a blogger or reporter who got aggressive about not being able to get into the convention
This
early.
doesn't
They're
reflect
so-
well on journalists.
they're so
you have anything to
entitled.
say?
Are you looking at me?
You have anything to say?
I was
Was it you?
no comment.
No,
No comment.
When we reached out for comments, we received nothing back.
like we joke a lot about how like we're never going to get early passes to movies because we're just going to crap all over the movies anyways if they're bad, and they want the people that will fall and toe they'll toe
And
the
feel
line.
very special for getting early access
And
and
they-
give them positive reviews.
They love that. So this guy's like, I shill for this stupid con every year, and I'm like, I write all these nice
You
articles
treat me
about
like cattle.
about Disney, and then all that happens is you get left to not thank you for finally working, and then you get left in the line with the rest of the plebs, and the guy's like, I am not one of the regular folk. I am a class higher than you, and that's kind of just sad that's like your goal in life is to be the journalist who then gets to go and still probably have to wear a mask talking to a bunch of actors who don't care about Comic-Con anyway, right? Because like let's face it, the artists don't get the love from the media the same way anymore. It's the actors who get the love from
Yeah, it's a lot of actors like
pretending they grew up liking comics.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, I always wanted to play this character, and they have no idea. Who
You
they
just found out who this character was 6 months ago.
are. Sidebar: what would annoy you more, an actor who claims to grow up loving the character when they're lying, or an actor who's like, I have no idea who this character is, but it seems interesting to play? Which one is preferable to you?
Oh, the first,
first,
at
100%.
least this, if you don't know it, like you're just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you're not being a pompous ass about it,
Yeah, and then did you see the thing today? This is a little bit of a sidebar as well. That they encourage the girl who's playing in The Last of Us. They're like, "Have you played the game?" She's like, "No." They're like, "Good, don't play the game."
What?
Oh my god, why?
Because it's not going to be like the freaking game anyways.
Okay, then why call it The Last of Us?
Because it makes them a lot of money to have
Oh
the
my
name
God.
recognition and calling him Joel when Pedro Pascal probably didn't play the game
He
either.
claimed that he
Jeez.
watched his nephew play the game for
That's
like a couple
not
hours
playing the
one
game.
time, so he knows as much as he needs to know.
Okay, I watched my wife watch Glee. That doesn't mean I know what Glee is. I mean, it's
Yeah.
annoying, but I don't know what Glee is.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So it's like
He's like, it's gonna taint the way I play this character if I watch too many hours.
This
of
kind of
him
doesn't matter
emoting
though
on screen.
because there's literally so much content being made from so many different IPs that there probably just aren't enough actors alive that actually like this stuff to cover all of it, right? Like, because these people were busy being theater nerds and growing up in that sphere, and they just didn't have any interest in that, especially if it's an older actor playing because the character that they're representing is an older person, but it was in a game that was meant for younger people. They're just not going to have the understanding of that material, right?
Yeah.
Except for, what was it? Who is it from the Batman? Pattinson's like loves Final Fantasy. He got really angry at like his co-star for not understanding why Final Fantasy was great.
What?
Yeah, like he got like he was trying to explain Final Fantasy to Zoe Kravitz, and she didn't get it, and he's like, "You just don't get it." That's kind of awesome.
Kinda basic.
Rob Pattinson is kind of funny.
Yeah.
He's
I'll
growing
admit
on
it.
me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He seems like one of the more like down to earth or less obnoxious actors out there.
Yeah.
So on top of that, we have so there's all the stuff going on outside, and then he goes in and he gives this. Thank you. He tells this story about how he got. The writer of this article goes in the story, talks about how he got in like an altercation with somebody at like Comic-Con over Donald Trump in like 2019.
That was kind of a weird diatribe. Yeah, he was talking to some developer on Elder Scrolls
he's
at
like-
one
he's like the
Comic-Con in
article-
2019 who started like screaming at him because of Trump derangement syndrome in a bar.
He's like, the article needs to be this many characters.
He had
I got
one
so-
too many. I don't know. But I just think it's funny to think about like fights breaking out at a Peach Momoko signing. Like, why?
Well, is it so? On top of that, and then they have what they also said about when the cosplayer passed away is that the paramedics kind of took their time to they didn't want to interrupt the convention. It's not like your job isn't emergency medical services.
They should have those paramedics like on site in multiple
do.
places in the building.
They do.
So they can get anywhere quickly.
Yeah,
They do.
But what were they doing?
I don't know. And the weirdest thing is like, so you see a lot of cosplay. Like, never once have I seen a guy in costume start like seizing up, and it's like, oh, that's him doing his thing. Like, no, like the dude's obviously having a problem.
Yeah.
Go help him. Like,
Yeah.
what is wrong with people?
Aren't you a man of action? Isn't that why you got into this job, person? Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
so they also talk about how there was different requirements for different events. So like DC, like the DC Comics activities mandated vaccine testing, whereas it looks like the convention just required masks. Because-
barely required
yeah.
masks. So by next year they won't.
So imagine that, like you're going to different, like you're like you have to have like your proof of vaccination or your proof of this, and like you go to different places. It's required here, but not here. Like it's kind of amazing that they managed to get this stuff done at all.
Well, they said it was for the Cali audience that was flying in. So like, really like
Typical Californians.
The rules
put on
at
the
the
spot
San
right now.
Diego Comic-Con were way stricter, the COVID regulations, from what I remember.
Was that
they
the
were
one where
requiring
they had like the ID? They
health-
digital
health
ID card.
IDs.
Yeah.
They weren't like vax passes, but like they pretty much, they might as well.
let's just get a swab of
Pin.
your DNA and you can enjoy your comic books.
Just
Yeah.
about.
I feel like this kind of takes you like in a world like where these events are kind of designed to help you escape. and then you just have all of this real world crap just pushing in on you.
Yeah,
as it's happening, it kind of ruins it, right?
Yeah,
like,
it's not fun.
And they don't go to New York Comic Con for big announcements, anyways. Like San Diego is really where they do most of the announcements.
Honestly, they do a lot of big announcements there. Like I'm pretty sure.
Did they do any this year? I didn't see any. Like,
I didn't see any.
no?
I know that the new Walking Dead show.
Okay, the one with
Maggie and
Aren't there like
Negan.
3 now?
Fun fact, actually, that was filmed in my town.
Really?
Yeah. I woke up one morning and walked down. There's just this big gallows up in front of my library with zombies hanging from it. I'm just like, oh, this is normal.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
Have you ever seen the videos of when they do the like when you can audition to be a zombie on there, and
Yeah,
they're
I
like
tried.
start walking
Yeah.
like with a megaphone, and they all have to do their best zombie walk. It's great.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's that would be I don't think I would be able to do that.
I only learned later that they put in the sound of the like later.
Wait, they do?
Yeah, they put that in post.
Why am I surprised? I feel like that's.
You just have to kind of like keep your mouth ajar. I
yeah,
guess.
you have to look like generically like
Yeah,
Or it's a prosthetic mouth that's ajar.
they don't
not a
actually
real
bite
one.
each other either. I know.
believe it or not.
Believe it
Oh
or
my
not.
god.
Believe it or not.
What's real? Is Santa Claus?
Well, we're gonna Violent Night. That's
There are
coming up
kids
too.
that watch
Oh,
this
yeah.
show. We are not talking about that.
Yes,
Okay.
we will leave that alone. So no Comic Cons for you anymore?
Depends really.
Maybe
I mean,
next year.
Maybe next year.
Maybe next year. I mean, it's
Maybe.
you have to wake up at like 6, 7 in the morning to log on to like the website just to get in the queue, and like you can't
Oh.
refresh the browser, or else like you're out of your spot's
What?
forfeit. So like it's really like first come first serve.
Yeah.
Sounds like when I was buying my PlayStation 5.
Yeah, no.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And on top of that, it's like $80 for like a 1-day pass, and then you're going to drop at least $500 there. There's no way around it.
Like,
Just on food and stuff like that.
Like, and it's kind of one of those things where it's like, remember when we talk a lot about Marvel bots and Disney bots? This is kind of the proof that they're not all bots, that it is real, that it's just, it proofs the kind of the psychosis of like, of these
Consumerism,
Yeah, of
basically.
like, it kind of is, right? Like,
Not to dunk on you for going. Like I
no,
don't.
no.
That's not what I'm saying.
no, but
like
you've been going for years, so long before this stuff was,
Up until I guess the pandemic halt really messed things up. Like, I don't know, man. Like,
they kind of forgot how to do large gatherings of people
Yeah,
after
right?
that.
Like,
then it's not
just-
that hard.
yeah, no, you can't be. You can't have people in close proximity anymore. Of course not.
yeah.
But it's just like, I read this, I'm just like, where, like, this wasn't happening when I was going there, unless it was, and I was just ignorant to it. But I'm pretty sure you would have heard something out of like a big echoey chamber full of people.
I'm picturing you like with your headphones on, like just jollying forward, like looking at stuff, and then like behind you, all the chaos is going on, and the camera's like panning with you, and like it sees all the crap happening behind you, and you just don't see it.
It's more like you're standing in a line of like, and you're an inch apart from the next person, same thing behind you, and you're just like, move forward, and you just take one step forward. It's like, again, move forward, It's really like
It's a very totalitarian.
yeah,
event.
yeah.
Oh, so and when the blogger got angry and got in the fight, that actually caused the rest of the press to be
Yeah.
delayed. So now he's going to be a pariah for his whole industry. Where they're gonna be
Blackballed,
like,
just like that.
He's at like an after party. They're like, oh, there's so and so made us.
Are there
late for
Comic Con
them."
after parties?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh yeah.
A lot of them.
Yeah, actually, the whole event, it's they really have turned it into like a San Diego type of thing, where it's not just the convention center. It's like, blocks away there'll be something. I remember the last time I was there. I don't know if you've seen it. The Johnny Walker White Walker bottles.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that the release. I don't know if it was a release event, but they had like a big release event that was like 5 blocks away from the convention center. They rent out parts of Madison Square Garden too for panels. It gets pretty big with like outside of the convention center as well.
And I forgot the last part, which was about Ryan Stegman. It says, as noted, comic book artist Ryan Stegman also said walking outside the New York City Comic Con in the streets of New York City was a disaster. Quote, saw a man shooting up in the middle of the sidewalk this afternoon and a bunch of rats last night. New York really lived up to my expectations of what I thought it was as a child. I don't know how old Mr. Stegman is, but Maybe if you grew up like with 80s, like pre-Giuliani or like 70s, wait, Giuliani the 90s, right? Like, so he would have grown up like with New York City before it kind of got corporatized, and it's a lot different back then. It's a lot
Yeah.
different.
You know what's funny is my wife and I, we got married in November 2019, right before the world ended. And in January, we had like our little honeymoon trip that we went to New York. And I was thinking to myself the whole time, like, I didn't live in Los Angeles in California, but I was about an hour away.
Yeah.
So I understood how Los Angeles was. But when we went to New York, you know, I was thinking to myself, like, it's really clean here. Like, I don't get it. Everybody says it's terrible. And then I was like, oh, that's right. They had the New Year's Eve thing. So it was very cleaned up that very same weekend.
People are
we
gonna
arrived.
be. It's like the thing when you're having family over and your mom's like, clean the air vents.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
like, have you ever seen those TikToks where it's like what your mom thinks is gonna happen when you invite people over?
Yeah,
And they open the
that's
door,
what
and a
Brett
guy-
does when we have
Yeah.
a special guest on the show.
Yeah.
He vacuumed right before I walked
Yeah.
up.
And a guy like so she's like, we've got company. She opens the door and everybody piles in, and one guy goes and looks in the coat the coat room. It's like, the coats aren't hung up, and they opens the bedroom door. It's like, the beds aren't made.
Well, it was funny because like we stayed for a week, right? And so by the time we got there the first day, I was like, it's very clean, but progressively towards the end of the week, I'm like, I just saw a guy like throw a pizza box into the middle of the street. Like, what is this?
That happens,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
They're not
I was
held
like,
to a standard.
it's exactly like LA.
Yeah.
Well, like in the 90s, like early 90s, when Giuliani became mayor, like his big thing was like, okay, so we're not going to hire people to clean up the city. Rather, you make sure that the place in front of your building is clean. You know, so people would go out there with a hose, and pretty soon the whole city was clean. And then I guess it's like people are like, I'll get to it when they tell me to now.
Yeah.
You know, it's a gross city. It always smells like rotting milk and garbage, too.
Is Rudy Giuliani Dr. Peterson?
He could be.
Clean your room. Clean your
your room.
storefront.
Yeah, it could be.
All that broken windows policy policing just doing damage everywhere.
Pulls off a Scooby-Doo like mask, and then he just instantly gets taller as Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, Giuliani's he's probably my height.
He's short.
He's short, so yeah, and then he's got a full head of hair when he pulls the mask off. Too.
Yeah.
Actually, and that could happen too because he did The Masked Singer.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Rudy Giuliani.
he did.
And then,
I remember
and
that.
they all got super butthurt.
Yeah.
about it. Like,
Yeah.
That happened when I first got here, actually, and you were like, we can't cover that. I can't do it.
because it was like, I mean, actually now we probably would have covered it, but it's like it's not like singing shows are our purview. So it's like we don't, believe it or not, we don't talk about The Voice very much
No.
or anything like that, or any reality TV. As much as Dane will tell me to watch episodes of Survivor, and I will never relent. I will never give in. And I will never watch a single episode. It would be interesting to see him like pull his mask off and he just becomes Jordan Peterson, and his voice gradually becomes Canadian. Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.
Bye.